Classy party, 3 rich women are keeping their eyes on the same handsome man. As soon as that man looks towards them and starts coming near, all of them think that now it's their chance. But their pride breaks when he, without even looking at them, goes straight in front of a mirror and falls down after seeing himself. That's when his secretary, Kim Mi-so, comes and handles him. That man's name is Lee Young-jun, CEO of a big company. He's smart, rich, and every woman is attracted to him. But he's never allowed any woman to even touch him, except for one person who's close to him, his secretary for the past 9 years, Kim Mi-so. Young-jun considers himself completely perfect, as if he is a shining human. But one day, Kim Mi-so tells him about resigning. At first, Young-jun reacts casually, like, all right, go ahead and resign. But at night, he can't sleep. He doesn't understand why Kim Mi-so resigned. So, the next morning, he tries to stop her. But Kim Mi-so politely says that she will help in finding the new secretary. Young-jun gets very confused. To understand her reason, he goes to his friend. The friend explains to him that their relationship has become like a married couple, and every 3 years, a boring phase comes. Inspired by this advice, Young-jun makes a plan to stop Kim Mi-so. The person who never gave anyone a second chance goes himself to her with a tempting offer, but Kim Mi-so still refuses. This time, Young-jun seriously tries to understand her. Then he remembers a small incident when Ming-yuan Xiaolan was flirting with him and he accepted flowers from her as a gift. Kim Mi-so was there at that time, and there were tears in her eyes. Young-jun thought she got jealous, but the real reason was Kim Mi-so had a pollen allergy. He remembers when Kim Mi-so went to a flower shop to buy a bouquet for Young-jun, and the whole time she was troubled by her allergy, still she delivered the flowers. That day too, when Young-jun called her to pick him up in the car, she again took out a bouquet without understanding. Young-jun finally directly asks, "Why are you resigning?" Kim Mi-so calmly says she wants marriage and love life. In reaction, Young-jun immediately says, "Then I will marry you." But Kim Mi-so knows his nature. He is a billionaire CEO, but emotionally he is blank. He feels no girl is worthy of him, and being with him is a reward for them. Their 9-year-old professional relationship was where Kim Mi-so used to understand his every small thing. She used to understand even from one look what he wanted. Young-jun also knew how important Kim Mi-so is for him. Next day, Kim Mi-so trains the new secretary. Young-jun gets hurt seeing her going away quickly attitude. Kim Mi-so sees an old photo from 9 years ago when she was just 20 years old and had started working under Young-jun. That time, both of them worked on a business trip in the US. Kim Mi-so was a total fresher at that time. She couldn't finalize the deal and Young-jun scolded her. She cried so much that day because she had struggled a lot. Only 2 hours of sleep, food didn't suit her, and everything was new. She was enduring everything because of her house loan, because she was the single breadwinner of her family. When she impulsively resigned, later she also regretted it because her goal was just to survive. When Kim Mi-so resigned for the first time, that night Lee Young-jun sent her a message. Come back to work from tomorrow. Kim Mi-so becomes emotional by this. She thinks that even being a new person, Young-jun understood her mistakes and gave her a chance to improve. She started learning from basics, like wearing a tie, giving presentations, and understanding every small thing carefully. That time was difficult for her, but with hard work, tears, and dedication, she kept learning daily. And just like that, after 9 years, Kim Mi-so became a legend in the secretary world from an office intern. But when Lee Young-jun confessed his love for the first time, Kim Mi-so directly rejected him. After this heartbreak, Young-jun went to his friend and lightened his pain, and also learned a few ways to win love. The friend said, "Be daring, speak softly, and become a little romantic." That day, Kim Mi-so planned a dinner with her colleagues. Everyone was enjoying, but suddenly the boss himself arrived. The whole mood became serious. Young-jun tried to break the awkward silence, but didn't know what to say. When he again brought up work, everyone became even more uncomfortable. Then Kim Mi-so subtly gave him a signal. A colleague suggested a game. Let's give compliments. Everyone started showering Young-jun with praise, which made him happy. But when Kim Mi-so complimented herself, Young-jun's mood shifted again. After that, everyone went to a KTV, but it was the first time Young-jun had seen such a low-class place. He had come there only for Kim Mi-so. He immediately used his CEO superpower and shifted the party to a luxurious lounge. Everyone was singing, dancing, and enjoying, but in Young-jun's eyes, there was only Kim Mi-so. That night, while dropping her home, Young-jun said, "Just like today, romantic and happy. I'll make you feel like this every single day." He wanted the two of them to just continue their love life like that, but Kim Mi-so calmly said, "This isn't the kind of romance I want." She said that Young-jun isn't even her type. She likes someone soft, understanding, and considerate. When Kim Mi-so reached home, she received another message. Young-jun was directly asking her, "What problem do you have with me?" At that point, Kim Mi-so couldn't hold back her emotions. She broke down and said, "You're self-centered. You don't care about anyone's emotions. You only think about yourself." Hearing that, Young-jun literally went into rage. His face changed with anger. Kim Mi-so made it even more clear. She let out everything that had been buried in her heart for the past 9 years. "You're not romantic. You never understood anyone else's feelings." That's when Young-jun gave a cold warning. "There are only 2 people in this world who can't talk to me about kindness or my romantic side, my brother and you." And in that moment, it wasn't just an emotional war between them, but also a hint of a buried past, something no one had seen till now. The next morning, when he came to the office, Lee Young-jun returned to his old cold and distant attitude. He officially approved Kim Mi-so's resignation, gave her permission to leave after 1 month, and told her to do a proper handover. He started assigning different tasks to the new secretary and began maintaining distance from Mi-so. Kim Mi-so was a little surprised by this change, but she had no idea. It was all just an act. Young-jun had planned a whole drama with the new secretary. That night, Kim Mi-so got a call from a colleague. She was invited to an amusement park. When she reached there, she found the entire place empty. She was the only one there. She was confused, but then all the lights suddenly turned on and dazzling fireworks lit up the sky. Standing behind her was Lee Young-jun himself. Young-jun had rented out the entire amusement park just for one magical date. Every light, every firework was only for Kim Mi-so. And when Young-jun appeared like a prince on a white horse, Mi-so's heart literally started racing at 200 beats per minute. She asked, "How are you here?" Then the two of them enjoyed all the thrilling rides together. Roller coaster, pirate ship, with no tension of any cues. They had so much fun that Mi-so's legs got tired. After resting on a bench for a while, she went to the merry-go-round, her childhood dream. When she was a kid, she had visited with her 2 older brothers but couldn't afford the ride. Today, that dream finally came true. Young-jun also took her to a posh restaurant, steak dinner with a private booking. He cut the steak and got it ready for Mi-so. They happily shared childhood memories. But when the conversation came to Young-jun's brother, he refused to speak. Still, Young-jun didn't stop. He took Mi-so on a private cruise. Cold wind was blowing, and when he looked at his watch, he realized it was time. Just then, colorful fireworks filled the sky again. Kim Mi-so was so happy, she was smiling like a child. Young-jun placed his coat gently over her shoulders, and in that moment, a different kind of emotion passed between them. There was genuine happiness on Mi-so's face. Young-jun looked at her with a proud smile, because every single activity that day had come from answers Mi-so had written in a questionnaire. He had secretly collected her answers, just so he could fulfill each of her dreams. Even after returning home, the surprise wasn't over. Young-jun gave Mi-so her favorite stuffed toy, and even tried to give her a goodbye kiss. That night, Mi-so had a dream of her sweet childhood neighbor brother, but she couldn't remember his name. The next morning, she found a necklace in the toy's pocket. When she came to the office to return it, Young-jun said, "I got it specially made for you." Mi-so adjusted his tie, something she had done thousands of times. But this time, it felt different. Embarrassed, she ran away. Sitting at her desk, she looked at the necklace, and Young-jun was smiling happily from afar. Who would have thought this cold CEO had turned into a possessive lover and was even getting jealous of his own secretary? The next day, Mi-so's friend set her up on a blind date. At first, Mi-so wasn't interested, but when she found out the guy was a journalist who could help with her childhood kidnapping case, she agreed to meet. When Young-jun heard she was going on a date, he showed no reaction. But while Mi-so was sitting at the restaurant with her date, all she could think about was the time she spent with Young-jun. Compared to their fairy tale date, this regular meeting didn't feel exciting at all. The effect of the movie-like date had started showing. When you experience a date with a private amusement park, cruise, and fancy restaurant, a simple blind date feels dull. Kim Mi-so said it didn't matter to her, but when Young-jun saw her laughing and chatting with another man, his heart shook from within. After the date, when Mi-so was about to leave and noticed the guy's tie was a bit crooked, her secretary instincts kicked in and she started fixing it. Just then, Lee Young-jun suddenly shouted out loud in anger. Both of them turned awkward. How could this cold and bossy CEO ever admit he was actually jealous? The next day was the office sports day. Kim Mi-so participated with full energy and became the champion. Young-jun couldn't stop smiling seeing her victory, but as soon as he saw her playing in a team with another handsome guy, his mood changed instantly. In anger, he brought water only for himself and announced that the sports day was canceled. While walking off in rage, he twisted his ankle. Mi-so took care of him, dropped him home, and even applied an ice compress on his foot. That's when she noticed a circular mark on Young-jun's leg, but Young-jun kept ignoring it and blamed everything on his secretary. One day, while Mi-so was walking on the road, she bumped into a handsome stranger and dropped her phone, but the guy bent down and tied her untied shoelace. He was so caring and soft, completely opposite from straight-laced Young-jun. But Mi-so didn't know that this guy was Young-jun's brother, Lee Sung-yeon, whom Young-jun absolutely didn't like. A new library was opening with Young-jun's investment, and he went there with Mi-so for inspection. Suddenly, the electricity went out. The library turned dark, and even the flashlight wasn't helping. They got stuck there and just sat down, waiting for the lights to come back. Mi-so picked up a sweet love story book and shared a few lines with Young-jun. It was the first time Young-jun found her that charming. But still, he shifted the conversation back to work, asking Mi-so to organize an event for the library. The next day, Mi-so came to the company with a suggestion to invite the famous author Moores. But before she could finish speaking, Young-jun received a text. His brother was coming to the office. He immediately sent Mi-so off to do another task and faced his brother. Sung-yeon showed his new book, but Young-jun clearly rejected it. When Mi-so came back, she ran into Sung-yeon outside the building. Both of them realized they had already met at the convenience store. Sung-yeon flirted and asked for her number, but the number she gave him was fake. That night, Young-jun went to his parents' house for dinner. His mom was happy to see both her sons together and kept praising Kim Mi-so again and again. It turned out that it was actually their mother who had requested Mi-so to invite invite Young-joon for dinner. When Sung-yeon complimented Miso, Young-joon cut him off with a cold attitude. Sung-yeon felt that his brother had become insecure, probably thinking that he might steal Miso away. Childhood memories started surfacing, and the conversation turned into an argument. As Young-joon got up in anger, Sung-yeon punched him. When their parents saw their sons fighting, they were heartbroken. Tears welled up in their mother's eyes. Lee Young-joon stormed out of the house in anger. Meanwhile, his brother Lee Sung-yeon received an invitation from Kim Mi-so sent through email, without knowing that the person she was inviting was actually Young-joon's brother and the famous writer Moores. That same night, Young-joon drove straight to Kim Mi-so's house. His face was bruised from the earlier fight, but he still came to see her. Mi-so immediately brought him inside, but feeling a little embarrassed by the state of her house, she asked him to wait outside for a bit. Poor Young-joon stood there in shock. After tidying up, Mi-so invited him in, cleaned his wounds, and then went to cook noodles for him. Meanwhile, Young-joon casually explored her room. On her bed, he found a stuffed cow toy and began flipping it around. But Mi-so panicked, afraid that he might accidentally reveal some messy clothes hidden beneath it. So she rushed to stop him, slipped, and fell straight on top of him. Poor Young-joon, already injured, now had to bear the weight of 100 kilos crashing onto him. He grabbed her tightly, and the situation turned quite dangerous. Later, Miso served the handmade ramen noodles. It was the first time Young-joon had ever eaten cup noodles, and he liked them. Miso felt happy. Young-joon then went straight to his friend, who teased him by saying, "You're really in love, aren't you?" The next morning, Young-joon pulled up outside Miso's house in his car. The moment Miso saw him, she ran downstairs and once again slipped straight into his arms. But this time, Young-joon placed her in the passenger seat instead of the driver's and brought breakfast for her, and only started the car after feeding her. Even in the office elevator for the first time, Young-joon let Miso enter first. He stood beside her in the elevator and looked at her with a soft smile. This once cold CEO was now behaving like a polite boy in love. His friend advised, "It's time you tell her. Express your feelings." But Young-joon didn't know how to confess. He went everywhere for advice, from the new secretary to a foodie manager and even his friend's secretary, but none of the tips helped. Finally, Young-joon invited Miso for red wine, planning an evening date. Miso sensed something and chose a beautiful dress after work. But just when she was about to leave, a phone call came. It was Lee Sung-yeon meeting her to promote his new book. He gave her a gift book, but just then, Young-joon arrived and snatched the book away. He grabbed Miso's hand and pulled her away. Miso was angry and said, "You're disrespecting my choice." She still didn't know that the author, Moores, who was supposed to attend her event, was actually Young-joon's brother. There were some old emotional wounds between the two brothers. Sung-yeon had been abroad for 3 years, and ever since then, Young-joon had harbored resentment in his heart. Young-joon wanted his library's grand opening to be perfect. Miso had worked really hard to find writer Moores, but her carefully planned confession failed halfway. In anger, Young-joon asked Sung-yeon, "Why did you do this?" Sung-yeon, on the other hand, felt a bit proud about it. Young-joon was furious, but seeing the company's and Miso's hard work, he put his emotions aside. He approved the book signing event. That night, Young-joon thought about sending a message to apologize to Miso, but when he remembered the friendly moment between her and Sung-yeon, he stopped himself from sending it. The next morning, when Miso found out that Young-joon had approved the event, she felt like she was being played with. She went straight to confront Young-joon in anger, which only confused and upset him even more. But then, Miso heard a shocking truth. Writer Moores, the one she had been trying to find for so long, was none other than Lee Young-joon's own brother. Kim Mi-so remembered that Young-joon had once told her he and his brother were not on good terms. She slowly began to understand why Young-joon behaved the way he did. Both of them wanted to apologize from within, and eventually, it was Young-joon who took the first step. Things went back to normal between them, and one night, while working late together, the atmosphere became a little romantic. The moonlight was soft, a gentle breeze blew. They leaned closer. They were about to kiss, but at that very moment, Young-joon was suddenly hit by an old nightmare of a witch-like woman who always laughed at him. Terrified by the flashback, he suddenly pushed Miso away. Miso felt hurt, thinking Young-joon was playing a joke on her, and she left angrily. Young-joon froze in place. It was because of his imagination that he had always run away from love, and why he'd never had a girlfriend. Miso's friends were also confused by the misunderstanding. They thought maybe Young-joon had some problem. That night, Young-joon wanted to send an apology message to Miso, but Miso replied with attitude, "Why are you saying sorry? There's no relationship between us now." The next morning, Miso had the day off. She planned to have fun, but everything reminded her of Young-joon, and every time she looked at her stuffed cow toy, Niu, she remembered that awkward, almost kiss moment and blushed. Just then, Young-joon invited her on a small outing to a roadside BBQ. He was eating so sweetly and even grilled pork skin for Miso. Then he asked about her family and found out that Miso had dropped out of school to repay her family's debt, worked jobs, and supported her sisters. Hearing that made Young-joon emotional. After the meal, they went to a toy claw machine, where Young-joon was confident he'd win, but lost. Angry, he said, "I'll just buy the whole machine." His childish behavior made Miso drag him away quickly. The next day, Miso got a call from a journalist who revealed that the kidnapped boy from Lee Corporation's past was none other than Young-joon. Back when he was kidnapped as a child, there was another small boy with him, and that boy turned out to be Kim Mi-so's childhood friend. Hearing this softened Miso's heart, and she started accepting everything about Youngjun without hesitation. But then, the new secretary told her that Lee Sung-yeon had also been kidnapped, and that he had written an article that matched Miso's memories. That's when Miso remembered. The boy who used to say, "I'll always be with you." Maybe that boy was actually Sung-yeon. When Youngjun came to the office, Miso asked him directly, "The little boy who was with me, was it you or your brother?" Youngjun denied it outright. A little later, Sung-yeon arrived at the office. Miso confronted him about the kidnapping. Sung-yeon confidently said, "That boy was me," and he blamed Youngjun. "He always treated me like a kid. That day he sent me out to get a cold drink, and I got kidnapped. It was all his fault." The identity of the boy Miso, once considered her childhood hero, was now completely confusing. Was it Youngjun or Sung-yeon? Who was telling the truth and who wasn't? In this emotional whirlpool, Miso's feelings also became tangled, and the story took a deeper turn. Kim Miso was still confused. Who was the younger brother who had been with her during the kidnapping? One day, while organizing Youngjun's study room, she accidentally came across some old job applications. She noticed that other candidates were more qualified than her and wondered, why was I chosen? What she didn't know was that Youngjun had recognized her at first glance. While recruiting for a secretary, he had intentionally called her in. When she was new, she couldn't even make eye contact with him. Once she was even scolded and was about to resign. But Youngjun forgave her mistake, and that's how their 9-year journey began. But when Miso directly asked Youngjun, "Why did you choose me?" his answer was a bit too formal, which left Miso slightly disappointed. Still, her heart was happy because she felt she had found her childhood brother. That's when Lee Sung-yeon, Youngjun's brother, emotionally called Miso, taking advantage of her gratitude. They had dinner together and even visited the place where the kidnapping had happened. Sung-yeon said, "I don't remember much, take me there." They went to the location, but Sung-yeon couldn't recall anything. Then he said to Miso, "Call me Appa, like you used to." Meanwhile, Youngjun was venting his frustration on a punching bag at the gym. His friend said, "Act now, confess your feelings." Youngjun made up a work excuse and called Miso to the office. Their meeting was awkward again, but when Youngjun saw Miso calling Sung-yeon Appa, his ego got hurt. Then, he immediately proposed to Miso. He thought now everything would be perfect. The next day, there was a company team building outing. Miso and her colleagues were enjoying themselves when suddenly Youngjun also showed up just to see Miso. He joined the group activities and ended up on the same team as Miso. It started raining, and Youngjun placed his coat over Miso. Then they both went under a small pavilion. There, Miso saw a spider and got scared, screaming. Youngjun calmed her down by giving her a candy. Miso looked at him and remembered her childhood brother, who used to comfort her in exactly the same way. Youngjun gently said, "Forget the old painful memories." But for Miso, those memories were deeply carved in her heart. They were hard to forget. On one side was a billionaire chaebol CEO. On the other side, a sweet and handsome writer, real brothers, both silently competing for the same girl. Miso, who had been Youngjun's secretary for 9 years, now shared a subtle romantic tension with him. Only a thin wall remained between them. And just then, Sung-yeon made an unexpected comeback. Miso was told that her childhood friend, the little boy, was the son of Lee Group, and she thought it was Sung-yeon. She accepted his invitation out of gratitude, but deep inside, her heart still beat for Youngjun. Their relationship was now at its final step. And one day, Youngjun invited Miso to his house for dinner. Miso dressed up specially for the occasion. Her appearance stunned Youngjun. He personally prepared the meat to grill. And when one piece got burnt, he said, "No worries, I'll make another." When the last piece also burned, he said, "Let's just order from outside now." Every small thing in their bonding felt adorable and soft. And the story was heading toward a sweet turning point where Miso's heartfelt emotions and Youngjun's true feelings were finally becoming clear. Even while eating takeout, the chemistry between Youngjun and Miso overshadowed everything else. When Youngjun noticed tomato sauce on Miso's lips, he moved to wipe it. But in that moment, he couldn't control himself. He felt the urge to kiss her. But right then, that disturbing hallucination returned, the one that always stopped him. Miso began feeling awkward. Trying to lighten the mood, she joked, "Next time, which direction is the kiss coming from? Should I be ready here or there?" Youngjun had an old trauma, a childhood kiss phobia. Every time he got close to a girl, his mind would react and make him push her away. Miso directly asked him, "You come close to kiss me, so why do you push me away?" But Youngjun kept avoiding the answer. His friend told him, "You have to tell the truth now. Be honest with her." But Youngjun didn't want Miso to get trapped in his painful past. That night, Miso had a nightmare too, a memory of her childhood kidnapping. She panicked and turned the light on. Just then, a message arrived from Youngjun. "I'm downstairs, saw your lights on, and guessed you're awake." Miso happily ran down to meet him. Youngjun gifted her a box of caramel toffees. Miso was touched. This small, caring gesture melted her heart. The next day was the library opening ceremony. Miso showed Youngjun every corner. Meanwhile, his writer brother, Sung-yeon, saw them together and grew jealous. He had his own book signing event, so he said to Miso, "Can you please check my speech draft?" As Miso began to walk away, Sung-yeon grabbed her hand. Just then, Youngjun arrived. Miso immediately clarified the situation, but she had work to do, so she left. On stage, Sung-yeon confessed his feelings for Miso in front of everyone. Youngjun stormed out in anger. Miso followed him and said, "It was all a misunderstanding. I love you." Youngjun pulled her into a hug. As he leaned in to kiss her, that same hallucination came back. But this time, Miso took the initiative and kissed kissed him. They melted into each other's arms. And just like that, their first official date after falling in love was about to begin. Their relationship had reached a new turn, where old memories, hidden truths, and lingering anxiety still existed. But even through all of that, one thing was certain. In Miso's heart, there was only Young Joon. Yet Kim Miso started to feel that everything was a little unnatural now. For 9 years, she had been Lee Young Joon's close secretary. She had handled every small and big task for him. And now that Young Joon was doing small things for her, it felt a bit strange. She gently said, "Please respect my professional identity. Kim Miso and Kim's secretary are two different people." Young Joon, who only wanted to express his love, felt a little hurt by that reaction. But even then, as a boyfriend, he understood Miso's feelings. He personally grilled pork skin and brought it to her house, and their sweet romantic vibe returned. They spoke openly from the heart, even getting a little cheesy. Young Joon said to Miso, "Call me Appa." Hearing that, Miso turned red with shyness and couldn't even speak. Just then, her sister arrived, and Miso quickly hid Young Joon in the cupboard. The sister saw the food and drinks in the house and instantly realized that Young Joon had been there. She immediately opposed the relationship because when Miso was about to resign, she had complained about Young Joon to all her sisters. Inside the cupboard, Young Joon sat with a sulky face, fuming quietly. But when Miso opened the cupboard and saw his sweet little face, even his anger melted away. "What can I do? I'm in love with her," he thought. Meanwhile, both brothers, Young Joon and Sung Yeon, were now literally fighting over the same girl. That's when their mother revealed a shocking truth buried for 24 years. The boy who was kidnapped back then was actually Young Joon, not Sung Yeon. While Miso and Young Joon were attending an event, Sung Yeon showed up to ask Miso something. Just then, a woman in red heels walked onto the stage. And the moment Miso saw her face, all her traumatic childhood memories came flooding back. Overwhelmed by pain and rage, Miso fainted. At the hospital, Young Joon cornered his brother against the wall and demanded directly, "Why did you lie for all these years?" Miso regained consciousness and softly said, "I remember everything now." Young Joon didn't want her to relive those painful moments, but Miso felt it was no longer right to keep hiding things. They both made a promise, never to keep secrets from each other again. Meanwhile, Sung Yeon, tangled in old memories, wandered the streets so lost in thought that he nearly got hit by a car. He asked their mother, "Does Young Joon remember that he hid everything?" She replied, "He remembers nothing," but deep inside, she felt guilty. Perhaps Young Joon did know the truth, but was only pretending not to. The next morning, their parents directly asked Young Joon the truth, and when he narrated the full story of his kidnapping, their mother and father broke down in tears, full of pain and regret. Miso, standing outside the door, also had tears in her eyes. That night was their first night together, sharing a tiny bed, adjusting side by side. Miso was nervous, and Young Joon said, "It's your bed, so I'll offer the pillow." He gently placed his arm under her head. Miso blushed even more and turned on the TV to cut the awkward silence. But adult scenes started playing, and she panicked even more, immediately switching the channel to the kids' cartoon Peppa Pig. Young Joon noticed her awkwardness and softly said, "Let's get some wine." Miso, still blushing, replied, "I can open the bottle even without a corkscrew." Her smile froze when she picked up the red wine bottle. Everything felt just a little awkward. Back in the room, Young Joon took out his luxury watch collection, but in the process, accidentally knocked over her makeup items. Both of them started picking them up together, and in that moment, their hands touched. Miso blushed again, her heart skipping a beat. Young Joon leaned closer and said gently, "Tonight, I'm not thinking anything inappropriate." Miso smiled faintly and replied, "Then let's go to your place. My home's a bit too small." When they arrived at Young Joon's house, Miso picked a room for herself, thinking she'd get some peaceful sleep. But the moment she turned on the light, Young Joon was standing right there. And then began the adorably romantic, repetitive moment of fun. "I'm scared of the dark. That's why I came here. I'm scared of the dark. That's why I came here. I'm scared of the dark. That's why I came here." Young Joon took her outside to help her relax for a while. He clicked adorable pictures of Miso, made her laugh so hard that she literally burst into loud laughter. The two of them went up to a high observation deck from where the whole city could be seen glowing. Miso's mood lifted completely. She softly said, "From the moment you said you wanted to begin, I was already ready." But the moment they returned to the company, a bad news awaited them. Their competitor had stolen the design for their new notebook. Young Joon immediately called an emergency meeting. Everyone was in a panic. That's when Miso confidently took the lead, organized the team, and handled the entire emergency task perfectly. She shut down even those who claimed she had only gotten ahead because of her looks. She looked around her office, at the old files, her first joining photo, and everything came flooding back. Then she softly said, "I'm not going to resign. Maybe this is the job that was meant for me, and I can't walk away from the people I love when they're in trouble." Tears welled up in Young Joon's eyes. He became so emotional that in that very moment, he made a decision. I'm going to propose to her. For him, the greatest happiness was to be part of the life plan of the woman he loved. That night, Miso was invited to a special evening. Both sides of the road were lined with glowing candles, and placed between them were her favorite candies, a sweet reminder of their very first meeting. A smile appeared on Miso's lips, and her heart filled with excitement. She followed the candlelit path down when a voice called out, "Lee Xiaoya, I've prepared a proposal story just for you. I'm even ready to accept your childish side. Come into my life, be my woman." And into the hall walked Young Joon, playing the guitar, singing a heartfelt song just for her. Miso was was overwhelmed with emotion at this simple but pure surprise. Youngjun promised her, "I'll always sing you to sleep." Then he knelt down and proposed. Miso smiled and replied, "I accept. This is the 5th time I'm hearing that answer. And it's the 5th time I'm saying, I love you too." And the two embraced each other deeply, two hearts becoming one in love. The next morning, Miso was invited to meet her future mother-in-law. It was the beginning of a brand new phase in their lives. Before the wedding, Youngjun bought Miso a huge collection of designer clothes, shoes, and handbags. But Miso softly said, "I don't wear any of these." Youngjun looked confused. "Why not? Don't you like any of them?" Miso blushed and replied, "No, they're all really beautiful." Then Youngjun picked up one of her dresses and said, "Let me just adjust this a little." Miso quickly stopped him. No, it's not necessary." But he insisted, "Everyone here says the same thing now. You have to let me." A cute little tug of love began between them. Later, her future mother-in-law asked, "Among all these young boys, who is our Miso's favorite?" Miso sweetly answered, "I like this one, and this dress too." Her future mother-in-law then said herself, "Then you should repair these new dresses too." No matter how much Miso tried to refuse, her future mom-in-law had already prepared a full shopping haul for her. The wedding day finally arrived. The once cold and powerful CEO, Youngjun, had now turned into a nervous groom. A day before the wedding, when he found out that Miso had a pollen allergy, he immediately had all the real flowers removed and replaced with artificial ones. He gently said, "I'll protect you for the rest of my life." Then he thought again, "No, I can't guarantee that, but I'll do more than anyone possibly could." Youngjun recalled that childhood promise, where I vowed to always protect you. Before the wedding, Miso's family had said, "Don't marry him." Miso asked, "Why not?" They replied, "You should marry someone who's grown up." Miso laughed and said, "Then I'll marry the one who truly has grown up." And with a smile, she added, "All right, I say yes." Miso and Youngjun, both sitting in their own homes, were lost in the memories of when they first met during a kidnapping, when they were just 5 and 9 years old. Back then, Miso couldn't even fully understand what was happening. But 15 years later, when they met again at work, Youngjun recognized her instantly, and that very day made her his personal artist. They worked together in the same office for 9 years, fell in love, yet Youngjun never revealed his true identity until Miso decided to uncover her past. And today, they walked together into their wedding ceremony, hand in hand with tears in their eyes and smiles on their faces. They took their vows surrounded by friends and family. All the pain, confusion, and old memories that once stood in their way turned into a beautiful ending.